Hi, everybody. Hey, hi. Welcome to the Mangomint Feature Spotlight. Hey, it looks like we've got some people joining, so I'll let everybody trickle in here. Hope you all are having a wonderful Tuesday. Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome again to today's webinar. This is the Mangomint Feature Spotlight series, and my name is Abby, in case we haven't met before. So I'm really excited to talk with you all today. Today's Feature Spotlight is going to be a really great topic. We're going to be talking all about managing multiple locations in Mangomint. So I think this webinar is going to be really perfect for anybody who's watching, whether you own or maybe you manage a salon or a spa with more than one location, or maybe you're watching today and you might just have one location and you're thinking about expanding your business in the future. So, whether you have 2 locations, 10 locations, or even 20 locations, we make it super easy for you to manage all of that in Mangomint. And when you add new locations, the really cool thing is that they can share, your services, your staff members, things like that if you need to. So it's going to be super easy to manage all of your locations and your client communication and everything in Mangomint. So I'm going to show you today how to do all of that inside of a single Mangomint account. So let's go ahead and dive right in, and we will go ahead and get started. Okay, perfect. And I am sharing my screen now. I'm here inside of Mangomint. Of course, let me know if anybody can't see that. And I have zoomed in here as well, so you should be able to see this pretty well here. Okay, so right now we're here in Mangomint, and what I want to show you is first we're going to see our account, kind of our setup here. I'm here at the Five Palms Salon and Spa, and so this kind of example account actually has a few different locations. So right now I'm going to show you how you can actually see all of your different locations that you set up, and then I'll show you how to add a new location. So what we're going to do first is go here, and we're just going to click on settings. We're actually already here in settings. And then from here, you're going to click on business setup. So we'll go ahead and just go there. And then next, we're going to click on locations. So let's go ahead and click that. So once you guys get here in business setup to the locations tab, this is where you're going to be able to easily set up and then manage all of your locations inside of Mangomint. So maybe you just have one location, you will just see one location here. But of course, if you have multiple locations, this is where you can go in and actually add additional locations. So I think I mentioned before that we're here in the Five Palms, Salon and Spa, my demo account here. In this example, let's just say that this salon, they do have a few locations that are set up actually throughout the greater Los Angeles area. So you can see here that we do already have a couple of locations set up. So let me just kind of scroll down so you guys can see that. So you can see here, we have our first location is Santa Monica. So we have that right here. You can see information about, the address, the contact email address for that location, the contact phone number. You can also see really helpful details about the tax rate. So you can see both the service tax rate as well as the product tax rate here. And of course, you can also see the time zone that this location is in. Of course, it will be in Pacific time, it is in LA. And then if I scroll down here, we can also see that we have this second location right here. So we also have another location here in Burbank. Of course, just like we saw before, we can see all the information about the Burbank location specifically. So we can see that address as well as all the other details. And if I wanted to go in and edit any of this information, it's really easy to just go here and edit that. And then I can go if I ever need to change the address or change the contact details, contact phone number, things like that, the taxes, all of that can be updated as needed. So this is where you can go to see all of the key details about all of the locations that you're managing in Mangomint. So now let's go ahead and I want to show you how we can add another location. So what we're going to do here is we are going to click on add a new location. So I'm just going to click that right now. And so when we get to this screen, something that's important to explain here is that whenever you add a new location in Mangomint, you have a couple different options here that you'll see. So you can choose between either adding a physical location or a virtual location. As you can see, physical location is the one that's selected here. This is going to be the most common option, I would say. So you'll typically be selecting this. As it says here, this is just going to be a real location, with a physical address. So again, that's probably the most common one that will be chosen. But I will note here that we also have this option to add a virtual a virtual location if you want to. And so this is a little bit less common, but this is nice. Let's say, for example, it mentions here if you want to separate different business types at the same address. So maybe you have both a salon and a spa at the same address and you want to kind of differentiate those further. You could definitely use a virtual location for that situation. We've also seen, sometimes there's examples where somebody might need a virtual location because maybe they offer a virtual consultation or things like that. So in that case, they would choose a virtual location. But for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and choose physical location. This is going to be another location that we're actually going to add in Pasadena. So I am going to go ahead and select that and then just hit continue. Now we just need to go and enter the basic information for this new location. So I'm going to go ahead and type an address here. I'm just going to type one real quick here. Let's see. We're going to say that this one is on East Orange Grove Boulevard. Okay, and then this again is in Pasadena. So we're going to go ahead and add that. And then we'll just select the state and continue adding our information. We'll pop in a zip code here as well. So let me add that. All right, perfect. So I have that. And then now we just select our time zone. So I will go ahead and leave it on the selected time zone for Los Angeles. We'll go ahead and click continue. And then this is where you add the contact details. So again, this notes here that this email address you add and the phone number are going to be visible to your clients in online booking and in the appointment notification. So just keep that in mind when you're adding that. For now, I'm just going to add this information. Okay, perfect. Now it's asking for tax rate information. So we can go ahead and enter that. The nice thing about this is that if you don't actually know the exact rates that you want to put there, it's really easy. You can just skip that step if you want to. For now, I'm just going to pop in 10% here. We'll do 15% there. We can always come back and edit that if needed. And then now we just add the name of our location. So I mentioned before, this location is in Pasadena. So we're just going to use a really simple location naming system here at the 5 Palm Salon and Spa. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in Pasadena right here. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I've added that, and then I will just go ahead and click continue. Go ahead and confirm that. Okay, perfect. So now we see that that new location was successfully added. Okay, so now it is instructing me to go ahead and make sure I enable service members and staff members, or services and staff members for the location. And we will dive into that in just a moment here. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then this is really great because now as I look over here, you can see that we have that Pasadena location. That is the new one that we've added right there. So if I scroll up again, you can just see that now we have 3 total locations at the 5 Palm Salon and Spa. We've got Santa Monica. I'll scroll down for you. We've got Burbank, and then now we also have Pasadena. So it's super easy. You saw how fast that was to add that location. If you had maybe 5 or 10 locations, you can see how quick you can go in and just keep adding additional locations as you need to. And like I said, whenever you need to come back and manage any of this basic information about the location, this will be kind of your home base to do that. So you'll just go to settings, business setup, and then you'll click here on that locations tab. Okay, so now that we've added, we have 3 locations total. I think that'll be enough to add right now. But next, I want to show you guys how to set up local phone numbers for all of your locations. And I think this is really important, especially when you're managing multiple locations in Mangomint. The really cool thing about this is that this is something we've actually recently added in Mangomint, but it's really cool because when you have multiple locations, you want to make sure that every location is using its own dedicated local phone number. I think that's typically the most ideal setup when you can do that. And that's really important when you have those, when you have different locations, that you can make sure that you communicate with your clients using those local phone numbers. So for the phone numbers, what you can do, and actually let me go ahead, the place we're going to manage this is here in business setup phone numbers. And so something to keep in mind as well is that the phone numbers that you see here, those are going to be used for our two-way texting feature. That is an add-on that you can get in Mangomint. And then they're also going to be used for your automated messages that are going out. And automated messages are on every Mangomint plan. So this will impact you whether or not you're using two-way texting. So just something to keep in mind as well. So this is really cool because when you have multiple locations, Mangomint makes it super easy to manage all of your client conversations across all of those locations. So right here, I'm going to show you in a second how to set up these phone numbers, but this is really cool because you can send your text messages and all of your automated messages from that local number. And again, this is really helpful because you saw that we have 3 locations now in the greater Los Angeles area. And so that's a really big metro area. And so there's actually a lot of different local area codes that you could use for that area. So this is going to be really nice because we can assign a local number to every location. So what you can see here is right now, you will notice that I have one phone number set up here. It's this 424 number, which is a Los Angeles area code. However, I want to go ahead and assign unique phone numbers to my other locations as well. So right now, this 424 number, you can see here just by looking here that it is assigned to all 3 of my locations that I have. So it's assigned to Santa Monica, Burbank, and Pasadena. But what I'm going to do now is go ahead and add a couple more phone numbers. So in order to get another phone number, you'll just click on add a phone number here. And keep in mind that you're going to see this option anytime you have at least 2 or more locations set up in Mangomint. So as long as you have multiple locations, you will be able to use this. So let's go ahead and click add a phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and first I want to add a local phone number for our Burbank location that you saw. So I did make a note here. I do know that an area code I would like to use if it's available is going to be the 818. So let me go ahead and just pop that in there. This is for Burbank. So let me go ahead and click continue. We will see if there's any available, and it looks like there are. So we do see, I'm going to click here just so we can see kind of the options we have. It looks like we do have a few different 818 numbers that are available. I'm just going to go ahead and click this one right here. So we'll go with that one. Go ahead and click continue. And then we just assign locations to that new phone number. So what I can do here is, again, because this one is for Burbank, I'm going to go ahead and just select Burbank right here. And again, that's going to be used for automated messages as well as 2-way texting. Okay, so I'll go ahead and select Burbank and then just click continue. And then you can see here that the phone number was successfully added. So I'll go ahead and just click OK. Okay, perfect. So now you guys will notice that my screen has updated here. So I do now have 2 phone numbers that are showing. I still have that 424 number, but now that number is only assigned to 2 locations. And then my new 818 number that I just added, this one is now assigned to Burbank. So let me go ahead and I'm going to add one more phone number here. This time I want to make sure that our Pasadena location that we just set up, I want to make sure that they can use their own local number as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get one more phone number. And again, because I have 3 total locations here, since I only have 2 phone numbers set up, I can still get 1 additional phone number because you can have basically as many locations you have that will dictate the total number of phone numbers that you could set up if you want to. So let me go ahead and click add a phone number again. I'm just going to pop in the area code I noted that will be for Pasadena. So we're going to put 626 here. And then again, we'll just check and see if there's any phone numbers available with that area code. Perfect. Okay, it looks like we have some numbers available. So I'll go ahead and choose, now we just choose our phone number. So I'm going to look at the options. I'm just going to go ahead and let's actually go with this first one here. I think that looks good. Okay. So let me go ahead and click continue. Then we'll go through that same process we did before. Super easy. Just go in here and pick. This time, of course, I noted that this is for Pasadena. So I will go ahead and click that. So that will be the assigned location for this number. Okay, perfect. All right, it looks like that has been added successfully. So I'll just scroll back up here. So now you guys can see that we now have 3 phone numbers that are showing here. So now we have the 424 number, which is assigned to Santa Monica. And we have the 818 number, which is assigned to Burbank. And then lastly, we have our newest number that we just added, the 626 number, and that one is assigned to Pasadena. So this is super great. I also love this because if you want to, right now I have kind of these unique local phone numbers that are set up for each location. But if you wanted to, you could also go in and you could actually use the same number for multiple locations if you want to. So it's really up to you. The phone numbers are super flexible and you can easily go in here. If you ever want to change which locations the different numbers are assigned to, you would just go back here and assign locations and update it that way. So it's very easy to kind of update that if you need to. So don't worry that you're necessarily locked into a specific number here if you do need to change that for a certain location in the future. Okay, so now we've set up our phone numbers here, and I will return to this in a little bit because I'm going to show you guys what the client conversations look like across your locations. But first, I want to do a little bit more setup so you can see a little bit more about how to set up staff members and services and things like that for multiple locations. So we'll come back to this in a little bit here. So now let's go ahead and set up some staff members for the location, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So in order to actually manage all of your staff members across locations, you're just going to click on settings, and then you're going to click here where it says staff members. And so, we make it super easy in Mangomint when it comes to managing your staff, across lots of different locations. Mangomint, it's really nice because you can actually, it'll support your setup. Whether you have, some of you who are watching, you might have different teams that work at every location. So, totally different teams, and there's no real overlap in terms of staff across the locations. Or some of you watching, you might have, especially if you might maybe have certain locations that are in the same city, you might have some staff members that actually rotate between locations. So we see that is a very common scenario as well that we see. So we really support any type of setup that you have, whether you have staff overlap or not across your locations. So now that we've set up all of our different locations, we have those 3 locations that you guys saw. Now let's look at kind of our staff member setup for the locations, and we're actually going to add a couple staff members as well. So you can see here, right now I'm viewing the Santa Monica location here. You can see that right now we do have 4 staff members who are set up. Some of these staff members, they're actually working at only certain locations, and then some of them will actually split their time across multiple locations. You can see the locations that your staff members are assigned to by going right here to the locations tab. So you can see that Andre, for example, right now, he's only enabled for the Santa Monica location. I'll just go here and click. We can see that Harriet right now, she is working at the Burbank location and the Santa Monica location. And then we'll just go through here. We've got Jennifer White. Right now, she's only at the Santa Monica location. And then we also have Stella here. So she's also working at a couple different locations. So let me go back and click on Andre here. So right now he's enabled for Santa Monica, but let's say, for example, Andre's making some changes. Maybe he actually moved within LA. And so he's actually going forward for the foreseeable future. Instead of working at Santa Monica, he's actually going to be working at the Burbank location and Pasadena. So he's going to be kind of switching between those 2 locations. So what we can easily do is we can update that. So I can just go here and I can disable the location right here. So we'll go ahead and click confirm. And then next I want to enable Andre for Burbank and Pasadena. So I'll just click here. All you do is click here on the location and you can enable that staff member for those specific locations. So you can do all of this right here from the staff members tab. So it's really easy to update that. And then let me now update this. So I want to look at our Pasadena location. So we're here right now, Santa Monica is showing, but let's actually click on Pasadena. So of course we can see here, now that I'm looking at the Pasadena location, we do of course see Andre because I just updated that so that Andre is working at the Pasadena location. But now I want to go ahead and add a staff member. Let's say, for example, we do have, maybe we have a front desk coordinator who is only going to be working at the Pasadena location, for example. So I'll just go ahead and click add a staff member, and then we'll just enter their information. We'll just go ahead and enter that. Okay, and then we'll enter the email address for the staff member. Just add this for now. Okay, and then we'll just enter the user type. So go through all the normal information here. This is the front desk coordinator, so they are not a service provider. So I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that disabled right now, and then we'll just go ahead and click create. Okay, we will also make sure we send an invite to Sarah Smith. So we'll go ahead and send that. Perfect. So now we've added Sarah Smith as another staff member to the Pasadena location. So again, Sarah is only in, has only been added to this location. If we go here, I'm going to click here on locations. You can see because we had this Pasadena location enabled when we added the staff member, basically the system knew to only enable Sarah Smith for the Pasadena location. But if anything changed in the future, I could easily just go back in here. Let's say that Sarah maybe starts working at other locations as well. It would be really easy for me to go in and enable these other locations for Sarah too. So that's basically how you can add a staff member quickly to another location. Of course, you would still want to go through and finish the setup here. We'd want to make sure we add a photo for Sarah, things like that. Make sure we set up all of the notifications, permissions, the working hours. I'll get into that in a little bit more in a second here. And then if you want to look at the different staff members across your locations, again, you can just use this little locations, little filter right here to kind of decide which one you want to look at. So we can just go, of course, we can also look at all locations too. So now that we've added that new staff member to the Pasadena location, the really cool thing about this too is that we make it super easy to customize the staff member work hours across all of your locations as well. So let me actually go back here to Andre. I think I mentioned previously that Andre, he's going to be splitting his time between the Burbank and the Pasadena location. They're not too far apart. So, he'll be doing a little bit of travel, but he'll make it work. So for this one, let's go ahead and I want to take a look at his work hours now, because since he's working at a couple different locations, we can actually set this up so that Andre will have repeating shifts at both locations. So let's just start with Burbank, for example, and we can look at both. I want to check. I don't think he has any work hours set up. It looks like he doesn't. So let's just go back here and let's add some repeating shifts for Andre, specifically for the Burbank location. So I'm just going to add, let's say that he works at Burbank Sunday through Tuesday. So we can just go ahead and add that. So I will go ahead and do repeating shifts, and then we'll just go ahead and set that up. Okay, so I'll just add some shifts here. And then we'll add a Monday shift as well. Okay, let me just add this here. And let's go ahead and add one more shift as well. Let's say that on Tuesdays, he's going to be working a little bit later in the evening. So he's not actually going to be coming in until about, let's have him come in at 12 o'clock. And then he'll be here until 7. Okay, perfect. So now we can see that Andre Butler, he has repeating shifts on Sundays through Tuesdays at the Burbank location. And then if I want to add repeating shifts for Andre at the other location he works at, I can easily do that as well. So now I'm going to click here, and instead of viewing Burbank, I'm going to click on Pasadena. So let's go ahead and click that. And then let's say that at Pasadena, he's going to work on Thursdays and Fridays. So we'll go ahead and now let's add some repeating shifts for this location. Okay, so I'm just editing my Thursday shifts. I'm just going to add one shift here. Of course, if you wanted to, maybe if Andre had a lunch break or something, you could do, you could have a little break in between and do a couple shifts and leave some break in between for a lunch break or something like that. For this one, I'm just going to go ahead and keep it simple, and I'm just going to add one shift here. All right, so let's say he works 10 to 5. And then on Fridays, he will also have repeating shifts. Okay, so let's start that at 10, and then he'll be out a little bit earlier on Friday, so he'll only go till 3. So we'll go ahead and save that. Okay, perfect. So now we've added those repeating shifts for Andre at the Pasadena location on Thursdays and Fridays. And so it's really easy if we want to just look at the different, swap between the different locations. It's really easy to click on, Burbank, we can see that. Swap back over and we can see Pasadena as well. So he is now scheduled to work at both locations. So it's really easy to go in here and manage all of your staff's work hours across all the different locations that they're enabled for. So you would just go through, if you were setting this up, you would just go through and continue to set up your staff work hours. Again, just go to this work hours tab right here. So now that we have set up some staff members for our different locations, I want to jump over to talking about services because we make it super easy to manage your services across multiple locations in Mangomint as well. So let's go ahead, and this time we're going to click on settings, and then we're just going to click here where it says services. Okay, perfect. So this is where we can manage all of our different services here in Mangomint. And then I'm going to show you here, we can see all of our different services across the locations if we want to. And then we can actually go through and we can look at specific locations as well. So you can see right now, Santa Monica, I'm just going to scroll down and you can see we have a lot of different services that are already enabled for the Santa Monica location. And then I'll just click on the other ones I have as well. For Burbank, you guys will notice we do have some haircut services set up for Burbank, but besides that, we don't really have other services enabled for Burbank. And then if you'll notice Pasadena, of course, that's our newest location that we just set up. So you can see here that we definitely need to go ahead and add some services here. Basically what the system is doing is we have all of the service categories that we already set up for the original location we set up, but now we need to go back and add, basically enable services for those different locations. So this is really cool because we make it super fast to enable those services across the different locations. So I'm going to actually go back here and click on Santa Monica, and there we go. And then what you can do to see the different locations that your services are enabled for is you'll just go here and then we can actually click here where it says locations. So I'm going to click here. You'll see here that the long cut, for example, right now, this is only enabled for a couple different locations here. But if I want to go ahead and enable this for Pasadena, I'll just click right here to enable that for Pasadena. So let's now go through, I'm just going to go through a couple of these. We've got our shortcut. We're going to enable this for Pasadena. You can just continue to go through here and enable those services. So it's really fast to do. Let's go now to some styling services. So you can see here right now, the blowout, we only have that available at Santa Monica, but I'm just going to enable that for the other two locations as well. So let me just go through and I'll just do that for a couple and you guys can see how fast this is to do. Okay, let's do a couple color services before we go to the next thing here. So I'm just enabling those. So now all of these different services are going to be available at the different locations. And in this example, you can see that for the most part, the services are pretty much the same across the different locations. But this is where it gets really nice because if you want to, you can easily set up a specific service. You know, maybe you have one service that is only available at one of the locations. You can set up your service to only be available there and not be at the other locations as well. Okay, so let me just go through. I'll also enable this color consultation as well. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to click here. We can look at all locations again. Now I'm going to go through and just look at a couple of these locations and we will see, especially for that newest one, let's check out Pasadena. That's that newest location that we added. Now as we scroll down here, we'll see on the left side, we see all of these different service categories. And now we can see lots of different services that we have enabled for this particular location. And we haven't finished, you know, we'll go through, of course, there's facials and other services like that, but just to give you guys a little taste of how that will work. So it's super easy to share these different services across the different locations. Another really cool thing I want to point out here when we're talking about services is that we make it really nice and really flexible. So, you know, of course, if you wanted to offer a specific service at one location and not the others, you can definitely do that. But another thing that you can do is you can actually even adjust the pricing if you want to. So if you want to offer the same service at multiple locations, but maybe you wanted to use different pricing for some reason at another location, you could definitely do that. So let's look here. Right now I have this long cut that's pulled up for the haircuts. You can see here it's $90 at all of the different locations, but for whatever reason, let's say I wanted to test out some different pricing at one of my locations, I could easily bump this up to 100, for example. Okay, perfect. So I've just bumped that up. We will be able to tell that we've changed that from the default price because this has this little reset to default right here. So that's how we know that this Santa Monica location is using a different pricing for the long cut. So definitely really cool how you can play around with that pricing as well across your different locations. Okay, so we've tackled services. So now another, big component of offering these services is resource scheduling. That's another thing I would love to dive into here. So now I want to show you guys how to set up resources for the new location that we've added, the Pasadena location. Okay, So let's go ahead and click on settings, and then we're actually going to go down to resources. Let me just find that here. Let me actually make sure this is enabled here. I think I need to go back and enable it real quick for us. So if you don't see that enabled in your account, you'll just go here to the app manager and click enable. And now we'll go back to settings. And then here we go. Now we can see our resources. So we'll go ahead and click on resources. Okay, perfect. And I love resource scheduling. You know, this is going to make it super easy for you guys to manage whether you have rooms or equipment or other types of resources. You can easily manage those across your different locations. So as you can see here, I'm just going to look and make sure. I don't think we have any resources set up yet. So what we're going to go ahead and first we're going to add a resource group. So let's go ahead and add it first to Santa Monica. I'm just going to add a resource group. And this one is going to be, let's say it's for equipment and tools. Okay, and then I'm going to add another resource group as well. This one is just going to be called rooms. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to add a couple resources here. So let me just add one here. I'll add a LED light therapy machine, for example. Maybe they're going to use that in some of the facials they're offering, things like that. And then let's go ahead and add a couple rooms as well. So I'll just go ahead and add those. All right, let me add one more room here. Okay. And then of course, I won't dive into all the details here, but you can go in and there's a lot of really specific details you can adjust here in terms of the different resources that you're adding. So definitely be sure to take a look at that as well. Okay, so now I do have these specific resources have now been set up for the Santa Monica location. But for example, if I wanted to go to the Pasadena location, now that we're seeing the Pasadena location, what you guys will notice, and this kind of works similar to how our services setup works, what you guys can see here is that we have the same resource groups that are showing here. However, it does not copy over the resources, because obviously you'd have specific resources dedicated to each location. So then we can go in and if we want to, we can add, other specific resources for this location. So, maybe for Pasadena, we have rooms, but they could be called something different. We'll just call it something like the blue room, something like that. We can see, we'll just call this something else, green room. Okay, so these resources, of course, are going to be specific to the Pasadena location. So you would just go in here and continue to set up your different resources for the specific locations. And again, to view those across the different locations, you'll just go here and you can look at the individual resources that you have under each resource group for every location that you have. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So super easy to set that up. And again, let us know if you guys have any questions about using resource scheduling with your different locations. Okay, so, we've talked a lot about, setting up your staff members, your services, your resources, but it's also super easy in Mangomint to handle your scheduling, your online booking, and even your client communication when you're using multiple locations. So I'm going to dive into that quickly for you as well before we wrap up the webinar. So now let's leave the resources, resource scheduling right here, and let's go ahead and go over to the calendar view. So I'm going to go ahead and click on calendar. And let me go ahead and just update this because we have a lot of different views here you can see. So right now I'm looking at the day view and I kind of want to show you guys, there's a couple different ways you can look at, your scheduling, your staff across the calendar here, things like that. So we have a couple options here when it comes to the calendar. You can see we have this day view here. This is really nice because you can view the individual location that you have, and then you can show it by different groups. So if I actually click on the filters, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So right now we're viewing the Santa Monica location, and then you can see where it says show by group, you can actually go in here and kind of update that as you need to. So you can look at, maybe you want to see all staff and resources. You can see everything. Those are those resources that we just added for this Santa Monica location. Or if you just want to look at equipment and tools, of course, we only added the one machine right now, so that's all we will see there. We can see the different rooms for this location as well. So this day view is really nice to see that type of information. And then kind of to contrast that, we also give you a week view instead. So this is really nice to use the week view because you can, and actually let me click on that so you can see it. This is really cool because you can see the schedules on an individual basis based on, you can either look at the schedule for a specific staff member. So like right now we're looking here at Andre Butler. And I could go here, I can look at Jennifer White, I can see the specific week view for all of these different staff members. I'll just kind of click through so you guys can see that. And then you could also even look at the week view for a specific resource that you added to. So if I wanted to look at the week schedule for room 1, for example, I can easily do that. And what you guys will also notice is when you're looking at this week view here, you'll be able to see all of the different resources that you've added across your location. So it's super easy, especially if you're maybe an owner or a manager who actually you're managing multiple locations, you're kind of overseeing the operations at multiple locations. This is super nice because in this week view, you can look at the resources that you've set up and look at the week view for all of those different resources across the location. So I really like that. I'm actually going to now click on Harriet because this is really nice as well. I want to show you and point out something here, which is that as you guys recall from earlier when we were setting up Harriet's schedule, as you'll remember, Harriet is working at Santa Monica as well as the Burbank location. So this is really cool because now in this week view, we can see here, I'm just going to click on a couple of these so you can see earlier in the week, on April 9th and 10th, she is working at the Santa Monica location. So I'm just going to click on these and you'll notice right here, on the right side in the appointment panel, you can see the location there. So you can click here, you can see Santa Monica. So you can see those, all of these different appointments for that specific location. But then she is going to switch over and then she'll actually be working at the other location, later in her week on Sunday and Monday upcoming. So if you look here, I'm going to click on some of these appointments and you can see that now the location has switched. And so now we can see her Burbank appointments as well, because she does have, in her case, she has some repeating appointments at the Santa Monica location. And then she also has the repeating appointments at the Burbank location. So I really love that, as you're exploring the calendar, you're clicking on different appointments. At a glance, you can easily see what location all of those appointments are at. And of course, when you're clicking on the different clients as well, you can see if you just filter by appointments, this is really helpful as well, because when you're looking at the client details, you can also see the specific location that client had an appointment at. So just another way to find out exactly what location they visited. So I really love that. And the calendar just makes it so easy to manage all of your different staff members and your resources across your locations, no matter how many locations you have set up. So besides scheduling on the calendar, it's also really easy to view all of your client conversations across all of the locations as well. So let's go ahead and I'm going to click on the messages screen. Okay, so I've now clicked on that. And then let's go ahead and look at some of these conversations here. So this is really cool because as you guys will recall, and I can go back here just to show you super fast. If you'll remember, just a few minutes ago, we did set up all of those different phone numbers for our different locations. And so this is really great because now when I click on the messages screen, I can actually see, and again, I can view all of the different conversations for the locations that I have access to. So in my case, I'm logging in as an admin, so I can see all of the different conversations across the locations. But this is really great because if you go here on the left side, you can actually choose the location that you're looking at. So right now I'm looking at Santa Monica. I'm going to go ahead and click and open that. And what we can see here is that we can see the client. We've kind of been chatting with this client who's coming in about their haircut they have. So they're using the two-way texting feature to actually text back and forth. But this is really nice because you can see that we are sending all of these text messages as well as the automated messages from the Santa Monica location, from that the 424 number that we had assigned to Santa Monica location. And then if we want to look at other locations as well, we can just click here. We can go ahead if we want to view closed. This one doesn't have any closed conversations right now. Let me go ahead and see Santa Monica. We do have quite a few closed conversations for the Santa Monica location. So I can just click through. So this is really great because again, you can see that that is sending from that Santa Monica location right there. So super easy. So this is really great because when you have access to view, basically, if you're an admin, of course, you'll have access to view all those conversations, or if you're a staff member, it depends on what locations you're enabled for. But this is really nice because when you're viewing those conversations, you can easily decide whether you want to see those client conversations across all locations at once. So if you just click that, you will see all of the different client conversations for both two-way texting and automated messages. And then, of course, you can easily view the conversations for just one location if you want to as well. So you can kind of streamline your view and focus on the conversations for a specific location. All right, I'm also going to show you guys real quick what this will look like in your online booking. So let me just go ahead and let me switch tabs really fast just to show you guys what that will look like. Okay, perfect. So now you guys can see that well. So this is really great because as you saw, you can actually, as a client, you can go in and click on the specific location that they want to book at. And then you can just go through and you can also see the location up here. So that's really nice, just a nice indicator as well. Then your clients can go through and they can just go ahead and book like normal as well. So it's really easy for them to go in and pick that location wherever they want to book at, especially as I mentioned before, if you have multiple locations, maybe in the same city, then you might be more likely to have one or more clients who like to visit more than one of your locations. So it's really easy from an online booking standpoint as well. Okay, perfect. I'm back here. And again, let me know if anybody can't see that screen. So I know we're getting close on time here, but I do want to go through just a couple questions that we have here. So one question that came up is that somebody has asked, how do memberships and packages work when you have multiple locations? So that's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. So basically how this works is that when you set up a membership or a package, and I can just go here, if I just go to settings, I can show you guys where that is. You can see, for example, we have the membership setup. So you can go here. This is where you can manage your membership plans. But when you set up either a membership or a package, they're going to be available to be sold and redeemed across your location. So you don't need to set up a separate one for each location. And then a really cool thing about memberships specifically is that you can also choose to specify the membership billing location. So that's something that's really nice if you want to take advantage of that as well. And so that way, any of the sales associated with that membership will show for the correct location. All right. Well, I think we have covered all of our questions in today's webinar. And so we are going to go ahead and wrap up today's feature spotlight. So we have covered, all of the basics of managing multiple locations in your Mangomint account. Thank you so much to everybody who joined today. And if you're kind of digging into this and you're starting to set up multiple locations in your Mangomint account and you have questions, don't hesitate to chat with our support team and check out all of our different material on our website. If you go to mangomint.com and click on the Learning Center, you can also access this from right inside of the app here. You'll be able to get a ton of really helpful articles specifically about managing multiple locations. And let us know if you have any other questions and we'll be here to help you out. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. All right. Bye, everybody.